levels of sex energy. This is existential bioenergy. This energy works at 3 levels, or we can say there are 3 levels of sex energy. These act as stages in the process of transformation and transcendence. One unfolds into the other, and the process continues until you attain to the ultimate. These 3 levels are: the first is biological level. This is the level of the body. It is gross. It is known as Dehanurakti. This word Dehanurakti comes from the 2 individual words Deh and Anurakti. Deh means body and Anurakti means involvement, attachment, lineage, leaning, that you are attracted, connected, your entire leaning is of the body, or you are body oriented. You cannot think beyond the level of the body. This is Dehanurakti. This is body oriented. This is biological. This is visible. And this is most lustful. This operates at the level of the body. This is superfluous. Most of the people live at this level. The second is the psychological level. This is called Bhavanurakti. Again, this word Bhavanurakti comes from the 2 words Bhav and Anurakti. Bhav means emotions, feelings, and Anurakti means attachment, a leaning, involvement with that. There are certain people who are very emotional. This is the second level, the level of emotions. This is the level of feeling. This is the level of the mind. This is emotional level. It is somewhat subtler than the first. It is tangible. It is loving and glowing. The third level is the spiritual level, or Adhyatmik Tal. Adhyatmik means spiritual and Tal means level. This is called Paranurakti. Para means beyond. Anurakti means attachment, involvement with the beyond. This is invisible. It is transcendental. It is good for all. It is beneficent. It is eternal. So really speaking, sex is the central point that joins pleasure, fear, joy, love, longing, anger, disease, and samadhi. One has to be honest enough to recognize that sex is the main center of life. Without this, there is no life. One has to be honest enough to recognize that sex is the main center of life, not thought, not prayer, not ritual, not God, not soul. One has to be honest enough about it. One has to aspire to go beyond it. Without aspiration, you cannot go beyond. This requires for you to continue the inner journey. You will recall the Sufi story of the poor woodcutter who used to subsist by cutting the wood in the forest and then selling them. So one day, while the woodcutter was entering the forest for his trade, he saw a Sufi sitting under a tree. The Sufi told the woodcutter to go somewhat deeper in the dense forest, as there was a copper mine. The woodcutter suspected first, yet still the longing took him into the dense forest. where he really found the copper mine. He mined copper and traded the same for a better and comfortable life. Time flowed on. But the woodcutter did not find the Sufi. Sometimes later again, as he was entering the forest to mine, he saw the Sufi sitting under the same tree. This time the Sufi told him to go still deeper, as there was silver mine. The woodcutter followed the instruction and found the silver mine. The life became even more comfortable. Days went by until one day he saw again the Sufi under the tree. Woodcutter's anxiety increased as he was expecting the Sufi to tell him something, and really the Sufi told him of the gold mine a little lower. And as usual, when the woodcutter went, he found the gold mine. The woodcutter forgot all about the copper and silver mines. Instead, he started trading into gold for better and more comfortable life. Time went on. Nothing occurred to the woodcutter until one day he again saw the Sufi under the same tree. This time the woodcutter hesitated. Somewhat as he was quite rich and comfortable. The Sufi told him about the diamond mine this time, though hesitant. Somewhat, the woodcutter still went and started mining and trading in diamonds. Life attained a new meaning. Years went by. There was no trace of the Sufi. Then one day, as the woodcutter was entering the forest, he again saw the Sufi meditating under the tree. This time, the woodcutter saw him meditating. This is significant. Why he did not see him meditating earlier on? Earlier on, the woodcutter had many worldly desires in him, and he could not think beyond the regular life. He could not think of the inner life, life of meditation, and so on. He was not willing for anything more, as he had attained all that man aspires to achieve. You want a good job, a good wife or husband, loving children, a comfortable house with all the facilities and amenities. That is all one can think of. There is nothing more than this that one can think of. However, this time the Sufi did not tell him about any other mind. Instead, the Sufi addressed the woodcutter as a fool. It is at this stage the master addresses the person as a fool. The Sufi said, "You could not see that I knew all about these minds, yet still these did not attract me. Life does not end here. There is something more precious that I have attained. That is why these pebbles do not attract me." The woodcutter's worldly longings were fulfilled. He was ready for something intrinsic. This time the Sufi told him about the monastery that he had deeper into the forest. This is a very significant story. Those who find physical level of sex to be all are missing much. They are involved at the physical level of the sex, dehanurati, which is gross. Do you want to remain interested in gross, right through? With physical sex, they are missing much and still losing vigor as well. Sex being the center of life is one aspect of truth, and the other aspect is that one has to transcend beyond the center. One has to transcend beyond the center. It is only when you transcend beyond the center, the flowering happens. When you transcend, flowering happens. As long as you are meditative, maturity comes. Centering and awareness comes. When awareness comes, sex is the first center that is affected or becomes victim of your awareness. Sex is victim of your awareness. The moment awareness comes, sex loses its ground and hold on to you. As long as you are unaware, you cannot remain unattached and unaffected by sex. In many ways it will come and capture you, hold you and grip you, and then you will be a slave to sex. A man of awareness is not slave to it. Sex is the root. When you are aware, it is as if the tree has lost the roots. What happens? The moment you are aware, you realize that the tree has lost its roots. In the very awareness, sex loses its ground. And when the root is dropped, how can tree remain sustained? And when the root is dropped, the tree cannot sustain. The branches cannot continue. New foliage will not be there. There will be no flowering. What are the foliage and flowers when sex is allowed its way? What is the foliage and the flowers that grow on the tree of sex? When sex becomes victim of your awareness, anger, jealousy, hatred, inferiority complex, superiority complex, violence, all kind of neurosis, psychosis and ego, that are the foliage growing on the tree of sex, withers away. When the tree of sex grows, you say that I am not jealous. There is no person, man or woman, who is not jealous, who is not full of anger, hatred, inferiority complex, superiority complex. When a wife sees, woman sees someone more attractive and so, the husband feels jealous. And when a husband gets inclined towards someone else, the woman feels jealous. These are all the foliage that grow on the tree of sex: anger, jealousy, hatred, inferiority complex, superiority complex, violence, all kind of neurosis, psychosis and ego. These are the foliage. With awareness, these begin to disintegrate. They begin to wither away, as if the roots of the tree is cut and the leaves, the branches are drying. All these are mere branches that will start dying. All these are mere branches that will start dying once you go beyond sex. This will happen without fighting or any effort. However, while you are within the grip of sex, it is very difficult to establish a connection between sex and your anger, sex and your jealousy. No woman says that she is jealous. No woman says that she has hatred towards the other. No person can say that. because there is no way, as long as you are within the grip of sex, that you can establish a connection between sex and anger, sex and hatred, sex and jealousy. This is where I differ significantly with other religions and your so-called religious ones. They are forcing you to drop sex, and I emphasize accepting sex in its right earnest. First you have to accept it. The moment you accept it, the miracle happens. My emphasis is to accept sex with deep respect and understanding. Sex is part of you. It is in every fiber of your being. It is your heritage. Each cell of your body is composed of sex. And when you condemn sex, you are condemning yourself, your being, and the Creator. As long as you are within the grip of sex, you cannot attain to freedom from anger, jealousy, hatred, violence, and psychosis and neurosis. When the problem arises, people abandon the relation. But that does not mean that they have gotten rid of their anger, jealousy, hatred, violence, psychosis, and neurosis. It is only with understanding, it is only with awareness, it is only with meditation that you can go beyond all this neurosis, psychosis, jealousy, anger, hatred that grows on the tree of sex. Not before that. How can you forget the basic tenets of life as enunciated by Hindus? These are essential parts of every human being, whether you accept it or not. You may reject these because of its Vedic origin. However, you cannot change human nature. You can reject this because it is of a Hindu origin, but you cannot reject the human nature. In order for an individual to realize their supreme self, they need to identify the reasons and objectives why they came into the life on this planet Earth and fulfill them. The ancient seers clearly articulated the objectives of humankind as purusharthas. Purush means an individual or a person, and earth means meaning. The objective or the pursuit of being a human being. What is the pursuit of being a human being? The moment I explain to you in English, you agree with it. But the moment I say purusharth, you say that I don't agree. What you have to understand, to go to the very essence, when someone speaks of a language, he speaks the language according to his understanding, according to his upbringing. An Indian speaks not English, he speaks English. A combination of Hindi-English. It is not English pure. And a Trinidadian does not speak English, he speaks Tringlish, Trinidad English. It is the mother tongue that has influence on all other languages. And it depends upon where the word was originated. If a word is originated in a particular country, particular culture, it will have influence of it. This is why the ancient seers clearly articulated the objectives of humankind as purusharthas. Coming from the two words, purush means an individual or a person, and earth means meaning or objective or pursuit. Thus this word means the pursuit of being a human, pursuit of being a person, pursuit of being a man. There are four purusharthas or accomplishments or achievements. The first is dharma, righteousness or awareness or truth. It cannot be denied. Irrespective of your cultural affinity, affinity of the country or the religious background. The second is earth or wealth, creating wealth, money and prosperity. The third is calm, enjoyment, sex, pleasure at the body level, mind level, through emotions as much as you can. And lastly, moksha, liberation or freedom from bondage. The four purusharthas are really the objectives of God, the Supreme Self, the quality of God. And since an individual is a reflection of God, is a part of God, it is the rightful pursuit of a person to fulfill all these four accomplishments. The dharma, righteousness, is given the topmost priority. Whatever be your field of action, whatever you are doing, it must be done with awareness. Whether you are engaging in the pursuit of the money, the righteousness or the awareness has to be there. Whether you are entering into the bodily pleasure or the emotional level through the sex, then again the awareness has to be there. The understanding has to be there. The righteousness has to be there. An individual can realize him or herself by balancing and fulfilling these four accomplishments, the four objectives. How much wealth is required? How much involvement in the sex is required at the body level? How much? These are the two. The dharma is the guiding principle. The righteousness or awareness is not the goal. It is not the goal. It is the guiding principle behind all the other objectives. Moksha or liberation is the final. But how can you attain to liberation when you are still longing for the pursuit at the level of the body, at the level of emotions? You have not attained emotional maturity. You have not attained the level, the fulfillment at the level of the body and at the level of emotions. How can you enter into the next stage? One unfolds into the other. And if you have still longing for more and more material prosperity, how you can attain to the final goal of life, which is liberation? First you have to reach to the peak. Then your journey of the descent will begin. First, the plane attains to the maximum height, continues the journey, covers the distance that it has to cover. When it is approaching the final destination, then the descent starts. So unless and until you have attained the fulfillment at the level of the mind, at the level of the body, through sex and through the material prosperity, you cannot aspire for the final goal of attaining freedom from these. These four objectives are not independent of each other. They should not be viewed as standing alone. They define and refine the other objectives and allow the other objectives to be defined and refine itself. The objective of fulfilling one objective should also support the fulfillment of the other objectives by maintaining a balance between the definition and fulfillment of the four purusharthas or accomplishments. A symbiotic evolution of the individual takes place. Exclusive pursuit of one purushartha creates an imbalance in a person's life. If you continue to remain operating at the level of the earth, means creating the wealth and prosperity, you are imbalanced. If you continue to remain fulfilling your ambitions, your desires, your lust, your longing at the level of the physical or at the level of the emotions through the medium of sex, then you are creating an imbalance again. And this prevents the person from reaching the ultimate goal of their life. As a person progresses through the evolution of their soul, they find that some of the objectives eventually lose their significance to more predominant one, thus make the way for the others. As a person progresses through the evolution of their soul, they find that some of the objectives of these accomplishments eventually lose their significance to more prominent one, thus make way for the others. For example, desire to earn wealth may diminish and disappear, or a person may come to the realization that there is no more material desires remain, that they have now need to pursue something different. There is no more material needs that need to be pursued, and hence more room is created for the pursuit of the ultimate object of liberation or freedom. The most interesting thing is dharma or righteousness or awareness is the beginning. Awareness is the essence of entire life. I would like to replace the word righteousness with awareness, because righteousness is the very core of awareness. And awareness is very important, and through awareness you can attain to righteousness. But it is not necessary that through righteousness you can attain to awareness. It is very easy to attain to righteousness or the tenets of dharma through awareness. The Hindu way of life does not say to discard the other aspect of life. Even if you have to enter the earth and calm, the material prosperity and the bodily pursuits, it has to be with awareness. Without awareness, the material prosperity or the gain or the earth becomes meaningless, and the bodily pursuits and the emotional pursuit becomes meaningless. Awareness remains at the core of all other accomplishments. Without awareness, no action is meaningful. Neither your way of earning money or material prosperity, or way of your entering into physical relation or relation at the level of emotions has any meaning. Awareness lends a new texture to your actions, desires, and all that you do. With awareness, a new direction comes. You exhaust the existing karmas, existing impressions, existing bondages and desires, and because of awareness, no new bondage or karma is created. When you are aware, you would have observed an argument is going on between two persons. Someone comes, nobody is interested in his opinion, but this person gives his opinion unwanted. Thus he is creating a new bondage for him. And man of awareness does not indulge into any kind of unwanted things. A Buddha speaks only when it is necessary for him to speak. He may see things happening, but he will not respond to it because it is not his way of life. Unless he is asked, he does not speak. Silence is his way. Dharma is the beginning and moksha is the end. Between the two are earth, that is essential for the outer life, and calm is related to inner life and the enjoyments of your actions and longings. Thus your path for the final or the ultimate accomplishments, moksha, becomes visible. When you enter into calm with awareness, enter into your sex life with an understanding and awareness, you not only attain a new freshness at the bodily level and at the level of emotions, but also one day, traversing through the worldly pleasures, you attain to transcendence. This is essential. When you enter into calm, the life of sex, with an understanding, with an accepting mind, and with awareness, you not only attain a new freshness at the bodily level and at the level of emotions, but also one day you traversing through the worldly pleasures, you attain to transcendence. You realize the futility of this all. Then you do not have to make any effort to leave it. It just slips out of it. It just slips out of you as if it is no more needed. It is like the skin of the snake which is no more needed, and the snake just slips out of this old skin. So our sages and masters have given due significance this aspect of human existence. They have accepted sex as an integral part of our humanization and human existence. The instinct of bodily pleasure and its existential bioenergy you have not created. It is inherent, it is existential, given by God with birth and continues until you are in the body. Naturally, this energy moves downwards like water flowing from higher altitude to the lower. It is like flowing with the stream. However, when you have to move upstream, you need effort, will, courage, understanding, and finally awareness. At every step and stage, you need to remain focused of your purpose so that you do not deviate from the path. You have to understand the water that runs in your house is an essential commodity. This life-giving energy has to be used wisely and prudently. Water has many uses. You can filter water for drinking, energize for various other things. There are techniques and uses. Sometimes you need to freeze the water for ice. Other times you have to boil and evaporate as well. All these requires techniques. So too is this existential bioenergy. It has many uses like pleasure, procreation, bodily fulfillments, and emotional fulfillments. And when you attain bodily fulfillments at various levels, you relax, and samadhi is the ultimate relaxation. Samadhi is the ultimate relaxation. When you engage in the act of sex, you attain to temporary fulfillment, and then again there is hunger. Samadhi is not such. This is transcendence. This means your bioenergy has now transcended beyond the quagmire of all that is transient, and you reach the ultimate flowering beyond which there is nothing. It means your bioenergy has now transcended beyond the quagmire of all that is transient, and you reach the ultimate flowering beyond which there is nothing. There are many possible dimensions of this energy, such as biology, medical science, genetics, psychology, mythology, and spirituality. Each of these is significant. These we need to understand, and in understanding you attain transcendence. I must mention a satisfactory and fulfilling sex life is important for a balanced mental health. I must mention a satisfactory and fulfilling sex life is important for a balanced mental health. When sex life is distorted and abused, there is a split at the mental and emotional level, and you lack inner balance and harmony. Medical researchers in this field and more so at the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality in San Francisco in 1970 have shown that there is a direct relationship between sex life and mental health. Research has shown that people with more fulfilling sex life were less anxious, less violent and hostile. Unfulfillment at sex life is directly related to anxiety, violence and hostility. Research has shown that people with more fulfilling sex life were less anxious, less violent and hostile. They were less jealous. They did not blame others for their misfortunes than those with unfulfilled sex life. All those who are unfulfilled at the sex life, they continue to blame the others for their shortcomings and misfortunes. A man of fulfillment who is fulfilled at the level of sex does not blame anyone for his own misfortune. An unfulfilled sex life leads to anger, frustration, jealousy, restlessness, hostility, violence, emotional disturbance, and many psychological ailments. They cannot be relaxed. They have not experienced a single moment of fulfillment in life. They have lost the way and direction in life. You cannot find them enjoying silence even for a moment. It is because of inner restlessness and unfulfillment. They seek happiness in this and that. Inner life has become meaningless, so they seek the same happiness in the outer life. Inner life has become meaningless, so they seek the same happiness in the outer world through the superfluous means. They find it difficult to go to sleep during the night. They go to sleep watching the television shows or talking until late in the night on phone. Late night vigil is the way. This is symbolic of demonic trends. There is a kind of rancor in their being. Such trends are becoming very rampant. More and more facilities of late night vigil, partying, etc. are mushroomed. When fully exhausted, they fall asleep. There is tremendous fear of all kinds, and when such person brings new life into the world, it is the same unfulfilled mind they bring into the world. And thus the wheel of life and death continues unabated. The Hindu deities like Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, Kali and Shakti are the embodiments of feminine qualities. These symbolize sexual maturity and fulfillment, inner harmony and balance. These deities were created not for mere adoration and ritual worship, instead for deep meditative understanding. These exhibit courage, wisdom, prosperity at all levels, dance, art, song and profound spiritual awareness beyond time and space. They are embodiment of such qualities, and through your meditation and awareness, the aspiration should be to acquire the similar qualities. This comes when the life attains fulfillment at all the levels. Each one of us can attain to such feminine qualities when there is awareness, and each act that you perform is full of awareness. No person is masculine or feminine alone. The two genes are within each one of you as X and Y chromosomes. Nature has left an imbalance between these two genes so that through awareness you can attain to that balance and harmony. The combination of X and Y chromosomes differ by 1 number, and it is because of this one is born either as a male or a female. And this gap you can fulfill through your awareness, meditation and understanding. Then the male and female in you are balanced. These are the two inner principles within each man and woman. Hindus call these inner principles as Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and Shakti are inner tantric energy symbols, not outer gods to be worshipped and adored. These are energy principles within us. Through your action and accomplishment in life, inner balance has to be achieved. This is what these outer symbols signify. The non-attachment of Shiva and various insignia are all meaningful. The blue neck symbolizes that a man of awareness creates a balance between his emotions and intellect. None should affect the inner serenity. If they poison the external element, or your anger or your violence reaches the intellect, it will distort your intelligence and the faculty of discerning. And if it reaches the heart, it will create imbalance at emotional level. Both Shiva and Shakti symbolize the balance between male and female principles within. This is an indication that each biological male and female must seek this inner balance and maturity before interaction at the outer realm. This is very important. This is an indication that each biological male and female must seek this inner balance and maturity before interaction in the outer realm. It is this inner maturity and balance that creates security, courage of conviction, happiness, intelligence and wisdom. Hindus have created both inner principle and outer manifestations as embodied symbols. There is an inner principle of Shiva and Shakti combination. Then there is an outer symbol. Outer symbol is for those who are ignorant ones, and they continue to use these as symbols of ritualistic worship. Those who are men of awareness, they go with the inner principle of the Shiva and Shakti as the inner energy fields. Their understanding was profound in creating both inner and outer symbols. However, with the passage of time and business-like ignorant approach of the so-called religious custodians, the inner meaning is lost, and in the process, these symbols merely remain as ritualistic symbols of worship. With this approach, inner meaning is lost, and so is serenity, awareness and understanding. Similarly, Taoist masters have created the symbol of anima and animus as inner principles. However, they did not create the outer embodied symbols. This is the difference between the Hindu way and the Taoist way. Hindu way, they created both this basic principle both as inner and the outer symbols. Outer symbols for those ignorant ones who want to use these symbols as ritualistic worship, and for the inner one who want to grow into awareness and attain maturity at every level. Each individual carries within anima and animus, or yin and yang, or Shiva and Shakti, or male and female energies. The two energies need to balance one another, and when they balance, then and only then they neutralize first. The two energies need to neutralize one another for you to attain transcendence beyond body. In the absence, you remain engrossed in your body, in your biology. Human body comes into existence as an interaction between ovum and sperm. the male and female energies. With the interaction with two energies, the body-mind realm manifests. This is not on your part. Your parents interact at the level of the biology, and as interaction, body is formed. And then this is your legacy which you will continue, and you will, without any understanding, unconsciously continue in the same act of creating another body, and the process of this will continue. Now you need to interact at the level of the body consciously and meditatively to attain to transcendence. When you interact at the level of the biology consciously and meditatively, only then you can attain to transcendence. Through sex your body was born one day, and through sex as well, one day you go beyond the biology and emotions as well. It is during the moments of sex interaction at the level of the biology you get the glimpse of something of the beyond. And when this transcendence continues, you realize that one day you are beyond the biology, beyond the emotions. No more emotions disturb you, no more bodily pursuits disturb you. For the male-female relation to attain fruition, sex is an important, never to be neglected aspect. However, there are dimensions beyond sex as well, never to be overlooked. But fruition can happen only when you understand the essence of your biological energy, and with understanding one day fruition will happen. For this, the secrets of the golden flower is one of the many requirements. Secrets, Taoist masters call this union of the male-female energy, the yin and yang, the anima and animus, the Shiva and Shakti, as the secret of the golden flower. How this golden flower is blossomed, how it is attained. Master Lu Sui says that which exists through itself is called the way or Tao. Tao has neither name nor shape. It is the essence of the primal spirit. That is essence of one primal spirit. Essence and life cannot be seen. They are contained in the light of the heaven. The light of heaven cannot be seen. It is contained in two eyes. The great one is the term given to that which has nothing above it. The secret of the magic of the life consists in using actions in order to attain non-action. You engage in action so that you can attain to the state of non-action. You enter into the acts of sex with action. It must lead you to the state of non-action. When you attain to the state of silence, you attain to the state of serenity when you realize that you have disappeared into the unknown. You go beyond time and space. You become totally oblivious of the act. You are beyond time and space. The golden flower is the light. One uses the golden flower as a symbol. The phrase, the lead of the water region has what one taste refers to it. The work on the circulation of light depends entirely on the backward flowing movement, so that the thoughts are gathered together. The heavenly heart lies between the sun and the moon. The book of the Yellow Castle says, in the square inch field of the square foot house, life can be regulated. In the middle of the square inch dwells the splendor. In the purple hall of the city of jade dwells the God of utmost emptiness and light. Therefore, when the light circulates, the energies of the whole body appear before the throne, as when a holy king has established a kingdom, and has laid down the fundamental rules of order. All these states approach with tribute, or as when the master is quiet and calm, men, servants and maids obey their orders, obey his orders of their own accord, and each does his work. When you attain to the awareness and the light of the being, then everything follows that light. Your bodily pursuits, your emotional pursuits, your longing for acquiring wealth, everything follows the instructions from there. This is not a commandment imposed on you. It is self-generated. You are not asked to do it that way, but you automatically follow it out of your own effort. Therefore, you not only have to make the light circulate, that is the deepest and the most wonderful secret. The light is easy to move, but difficult to fix. If it is made to circulate long enough, then it crystallizes itself. It is the condition of which it is said, silently thou fliest upward in the morning. In carrying out this fundamental principle, you need to seek for no other methods, but must only concentrate your thoughts on it. By collecting the thoughts, one can fly and will be born in heaven. The golden flower is the elixir of life. Although it works very accurately, it is yet so fluid that it needs extreme intelligence and clarity, and the most complete absorption in tranquility. People without this highest degree of intelligence and understanding do not find their way. People without this utmost capacity for absorption in tranquility cannot keep fast hold of it. There are 4 ways of transforming sex. First is the meeting of the outer man and the outer woman. The second is the meeting of the inner man and the inner woman. This will lead to the union of the inner man and the inner woman. This union of inner man and inner woman is symbolized in mythology as Ardh Narishwar. Ardh means half, Nari means female, that is Narishwar, that is neither male nor female. According to the Hindu concept, Shiva is shown in Ardhanarishwar, half of his side is male and half of his side is female. The inner union of male and female energies is symbolized by the symbol of Ardhanarishwar, because Shiva is the only god of the Hindu Trinity, which is considered as tantric, beyond, and attained to the state of beyondness, the transcendence, beyond all that is material, all that is bodily, all that is emotional. And that state, in that state he is called as Bhairav, and that is why Shiva is the only one who gave the techniques of meditation. No other god of the Hindu Trinity has spoken about the techniques of meditation as Shiva did, because he is Bhairav, attained to the transcendence. This is why the treatise is known as Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. This word Vigyan is literally translated as science, which is absolutely wrong. This Vigyan is totally of a different dimension. Sometimes later I will speak on that, just to give a touch. According to Hindus, there are 5 sheaths. The first is the food sheath. The second is the pranamaya, the life force. The third is the mind or the emotional. The fourth is the Vijnanmaya Kosh. This is the most mysterious sheath. Thereafter the bliss sheath. Between the mind and the bliss sheath, there is this mysterious Vijnanmay Kosh, which Shiva explains in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. It is called Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Going beyond the awareness, going beyond the knowledge, going beyond understanding. This leads to total inner contentment. The two polarities have merged into one harmony. Meditation is the way to attain to this inner union of polarities. This clears the dualities as well. The ultimate in transforming sex lies in understanding the duality, its roots and process. Understand these polarities as complementary, not as conflict. The two melt into one another. This is the union of anima animus. This is the secret of the golden flower that Master Lusu calls. The bowls of Bengal are the symbols of this union. They have beautifully put it in a particular composition. As the inner man and the inner woman unite in love, the brilliance of beauty balance the 5-petal lotus, blooming dazzles my eyes and glaze outshine the moon. My skin and bones are turned into gold. Inner man and the inner woman are one when Krishna and Kali are merged. I am the reservoir of love there. As the inner man and the inner woman unite in love, the brilliance of beauty balance the 5-petal lotus, blooming dazzles my eyes and glaze outshine. And the glaze outshine the moon. My skin and the bones are turned into gold. Inner man and woman are one when Krishna and Kali are merged. I am the reservoir of love. As this inner principle circulates into one another, there is inner orgies. It is at this point that one becomes a celibate. Celibacy is not opposition of sex, instead it is transmutation of sex. Indeed, the sex energy is the prerequisite for such a transcendence, and celibacy is not prerequisite. Instead, it is the outcome of this inner union or the merger of anima and animus. The moment one attains to this inner harmony between the two complementary energies, the two polarities, male and female, anima and animus, then one becomes celibate. This puritanical approach to the universal reality appeals to one who is either sex indulgent or sex repressant. Our challenge is that we forget to be aware, and this forgetfulness is sin. I have heard one fine morning, Mullah was walking down the street, that suddenly he realized that he did not have his hat on. He felt very uncomfortable, as he always walked with hat. However, he decided to steal a hat. So with this intention, he entered the nearby church. The sermon was going on. After the sermon, the mullah approached the priest to thank. He told the priest that his sermon saved him from committing the sin. The elated priest inquired about the sin that he was saved from. Mullah said he came to the church with an intention of stealing the hat. And when during the sermon on commandments you said, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," suddenly I remembered where I forgot my hat last night. In fact, Mullah had forgotten where he left the hat last night. This forgetfulness is sin. The word sin actually means to forget. We forget how to be aware and conscious, and therefore I would like you to be aware of this inner anima and animus, inner polarities, the Shiva and Shakti principle, the yin and yang, the male and female, and be respectful to it. Only then you can attain to transcendence. Only this much on the levels of sex.